Yesterday on Ramblings, whilst up a tree, I talked about the fact that I think the environmental movement needs to better integrate issues of human society and influence with nature rather than completely separating them or seeing biodiversity as something that can only be achieved without the presence of humans and that kind of thing. Because I think that to do so is to kind of boost the human environment, social, natural dichotomy that I don't see as very healthy or helpful. Also because, well, modern conveniences are convenient, and that's cool. I like a lot of things about society and human development. I think they're very delightful and help improve humans' quality of life. And that's a good thing, and I think we can come to a place where that's a good thing for the environment too. It doesn't need to be a, human or environment, only one winner kind of thing. It's not that kind of zero-sum game. So today I'm going to talk about an academic discipline that I think can help the environmental movement to do that. I'm Rebecca Farnum, this is Ramblings with Rebecca, and today, political ecology. Also today, a new background, I think. We're touring the walls of Becca's geekiness. But these have relatively little to do with political ecology. Though actually they have lots to do with political ecology, because political ecology has to do with everything. Political ecology studies and considers the relationships between political, economic, and social factors with environmental issues, changes, and challenges, right? So it's looking at ecology and environmental sciences from a sociological perspective, seeing trees and nature and biodiversity through the lens of politics, of the market, of human culture, those kind of things. It is the incorporation of the ecological social sciences with political economy. Political economy looks at the relationships between markets and governance and laws. The phrase political ecology was first used by Frank Thorne in an article that was published in 1935, and it swept the globe! Not really. It was kind of like, oh, look, a term, and got more or less ignored for several decades. As a field, political ecology really took off in the 1970s and 80s. So it's pretty young in, the scope of academic history, has really only been around for 4 decades or so. It comes out of things like development geography, human geography and cultural ecology, so starting to integrate social sciences together with issues of the development of the market, of human society, and these kind of things, and pulling it all together. So it's really an amalgamation of most academic disciplines, trying to see how are these all connected, both disciplinary-wise, and then how are the things that we're also studying connected, right? Because the market does not exist in a vacuum outside humans, outside governance. Governance does not exist in a vacuum outside cities and towns and rural and landscapes and seas and air, etc., etc., etc. None of these things are in a vacuum, so perhaps as academics we should stop trying to make them or to enforce a vacuum on them, and instead really play at trying to figuring out the relationships between them. So a political ecologist would do things like go into a village and see who has access to water. And if you were a hydrologist, that might be where it stopped. Or you might say, okay, let's build this new aqueduct from place A to place B so that, place B has easier access to water. If you're a political ecologist, you look at why are the people in place B not getting water and what might continue to infringe their access to water, even if there's, a spring right there, right? So are the women less likely to be allowed out of the house at certain times of the day when the water is freshest? Are the kids at school between these hours when the water is flowing because that's when the city can provide it, so the kids can't have fresh baths? Things like that. Really considering all of the kind of patterns of lives and systematic issues that could be preventing access to environmental resources and skills. So that's political ecology. It is sometimes critiqued for being too critical and not actually very helpful. So looking at politics and policies and saying this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and not here's how to fix, here's how to fix, here's how to fix, because it is in fact much easier to critique than it is to provide solutions, but that's what we're going to try and do.